What's going on, boxing brothers and sisters? It's another special here, special edition on Hump Day. Got a special treat for you guys. We have the legend here, Kelly the Ghost Pavlik. As I heard, what's his name, Lennox Lewis say during the fight when he got up from a knockdown to knock down Jermaine Taylor, he said, "This guy Kelly is one tough cookie from Youngstown." My God. So we got this girl up in here, man. Yo, blessings to you. Thank you for showing up and spending some time with us. I know your time is limited, so we'll get right to the questions. And thank you again to the panel as well. We got the streaming on Mark Nash's channel. Salute to your channel, everybody over there. Troy Graham as well. My brother over here in boxing. So let's get right to it. So first and foremost, man, just for the people that don't know, the reason that we do this, is we're trying to educate a lot of these younger guys that don't really know about boxing. Man, you a legend. You a legend, man. 40-2, and those two were only against Bernard Hopkins and Sergio Martinez, and never knocked out. Okay, and 34 knockouts out of those 40 victories. So tell people first and foremost how you got started. What makes Kelly Pavlik Kelly Pavlik?
Oh man, well, getting started, I grew up in the inner city. I was active kid. I was the youngest of two older siblings. And where you're at that point, man, like the only thing you really got is sports. And we would go, to backyard games or just the people in the neighborhood. It was always something, I'll go up to the school, play some basketball if the rims weren't torn down, I was always doing something. And then I was also like into the martial arts, and I kind of got involved in martial arts. It was expensive though. So, it was short-lived, and it wasn't enough action for me with martial arts. I kind of got a little bored of it, taking nothing away from it. And, I kept begging to go to the boxing gym. My two older brothers were going. They weren't serious or nothing. They didn't fight or anything, but they would just train there. And finally, after a long time of tugging on my parents to let me go, they let me go. And from there, the rest is history. I fell in love with it. The first time I sparred, I kind of got my butt whipped, and they were all excited because they thought that I didn't want to fight no more. And to their surprise, they came home the next day, and I was ready to go back to the gym. And they're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm going back to kick that kid's ass today." And that's how I kind of fell in love with boxing. And it just, like I said, I played football up to about 12. I played baseball all the way up to my senior year in high school.
Right.
But boxing was the main love. And I really kind of got serious with boxing around 15 years old. And that's when I started, a year later, I started winning national tournaments.
And that was with Jack Lowe? You met Jack Lowe? How did you meet Jack Lowe?
Yeah, so actually the first time I ever walked into the boxing gym, I met Harry Arroyo, who was the IBF lightweight champ from Youngstown, Ohio, and same time as Boomer Mancini, and Jack wasn't there, so that's kind of a coincidence too. The first time walking in, and nobody's there besides the former lightweight champ of the world, and then after that, I was with Jack from the beginning. I went back. I signed up with Jack, and he trained me, and from there all the way up to, so I would say from 1994. All the way to 2010, 2011, I was with Jack.
Gotcha, man. So before I pass it off to Troy, I just want to say, man, listen, it was a couple years that I noticed you, and like before you actually fought Jermaine Taylor, and I was like, this dude is the real deal. Every time they put you on a card, I made sure that I watched it. That's why when we had, and I know somebody's going to ask you questions sooner or later about David Benavidez in our interview, but as soon as he mentioned you, I said, Kelly, I cut him off. I was like, Kelly Pavlik was a beast, man. That was my dude right there. So man, shout out to you, bro. So yo, Troy, go ahead, man. What's your questions?
How you doing, brother? Yeah, I'm gonna tell you again, man. You looking blessed, man. You just look like the sun is shining on your life right now.
I appreciate it. It's going good.
No problem. You know what, brother? I've always wanted to ask you. Ali used to say that every time he got really hit and hurt in the ring, that he would go to this special place, right? I actually watched your fight with Taylor over again, and it was a point in the fight where he stunned you and you froze for a split second, and he hit you boom boom with 2 shots, and I think you dropped after that. Where's that special place that you had to go to pull that strength to actually come back to do what you did to him? Because he Let me tell you, you froze for that split second, but your eyes were still clear. But I don't think everything was working for you, right?
No, so that was a funny knockdown. Was I hurt? Obviously, yeah. It was an equilibrium shot. So there's a little differences between getting dropped too, and like your state of being, or your well being, however you want to say, your what you know was going on. He hit me. It was an equilibrium shot. I was there mentally. I knew everything that was going on. I could actually pinpoint and pick out certain people in the stands that are screaming. I could name them right on the spot who it was, but my legs were just gone. I was trying to catch my legs with my hips, and my special. I didn't have a special place. I wish I I wish I did. But the main thing that it was kind of like in my head. I remember everything that the referee told me in the locker room. He goes, as long as you show you can hold on, hang on, and that shows me that you're with it. Because if I was getting hurt and getting knocked around the ring, but I wasn't grabbing, that shows that I'm out of it, right? That I don't know what's going on. And that was the only thing I could remember. And in my head, I was saying, man, came too far right now to let this be the end of it, And that was kind of the thing, because I always worked my ass off when I trained. That's the one thing nobody could take from me. And so I knew I was ready. And if I could just get out of that second round, I knew I would be all right. I made a bonehead mistake. I stuck I got hurt, and I stuck my tongue out to try to show him that I wasn't hurt. And it kind of almost did me in doing that. So, it was just a lot of work and a lot of dedication and a lot of time put in to kind of end on that note.
Yes, sir. And tell us about his power, man, because we always hear about a fighter's power and so forth. But tell us about his power, man, and how you withstood that just to come on back and to finish him off. Because let me tell you what, most fighters would have folded.
Yeah.
Most fighters would have folded in that situation, but you didn't.
So it's weird. I know a lot of times when people ask questions, especially like on my Instagram or anything like that, who was the hardest puncher? By far, it was Edison Miranda. I mean, Edison Miranda hit, and I didn't get dropped by him, but Edison Miranda, he hit you with a jab, and you carry that for 4 or 5 rounds. Jermaine was a little different. Jermaine was had a thudding punch, but he was also like really fast. He didn't hit as hard as Edison Miranda. And again, going on it, like Jermaine was just a strong kid. He's a hell of an athlete. He's a big middleweight. People forget that. Like we were the same height. Jermaine was a big guy, and he hit hard enough to where I got a little lazy. And again, where he hit me at, it has nothing to do with your chin. If you can take a punch or not, when anybody gets caught in that spot on equilibrium, their legs are going to go. So Jermaine hits hard. He definitely had pop. He was definitely somebody you couldn't get carried away with in there, or he'll put you on your ass. So I would put him up there as, I would probably say, out of all the people I fought, I would definitely have him in top 5.
To you, I'm frozen out.
Oh, yeah. So I said I'd probably have him in the top 5 of all the people I fought. Where it's power.
Man. Respect to that, man. Yo, Mark, go ahead, man.
Kelly Pavlik, how you doing, sir?
Doing good.
Absolutely. Mark Nash from Breaking the Beats. Got a question for you. What would you say is who was your toughest opponent and why?
I'd have to go ahead and say, obviously, Bernard Hopkins. Now, on the flip side, I don't get into it too much because it's a never-winning situation for me. It was just not my night. The night that I fought Bernard, I can honestly say I wasn't even 80%, but that's taking nothing away from Bernard. Bernard's shown in his career what he could do. Bernard's I'll tell you one thing that a lot of people don't know either. And when people think of like footwork, people think about like flashy, right? They think of like Hector Camacho or like a Lomachenko or somebody like that. And footwork, that's not what it's about. Footwork is being in the right spot at the right time, making the right angle, the right pivots, and offsetting somebody. And Bernard Hopkins, if I was to show a young kid coming up, I would show him somebody like Bernard Hopkins or like a Mikey Garcia, people who know how to make that quick little subtle step to offset you. And if you watch any of the fights with Bernard, just not even with me, but anybody he ever fought, Bernard had good defense. He kind of had that shell. He hid behind everything, but Bernard took the power away from a lot of people because he would always make that step at the right time to suffocate them or to throw them off balance. And that's footwork. You can't argue that. And so Bernard right there, and that's called a smart fighter too, because Bernard studies film. He breaks you down. He reads you throughout the fight, and then he makes those type of moves. And on top of that, Bernard was a slick guy. He was pretty fast and everything else. So I would definitely say Bernard Hopkins.
It's ironic you said that. We had Glenn Johnson on Monday, and he said the exact same thing. He said those little subtle things. He said I felt like he was reading my mind in there. So it's ironic. Back to back, we had two guys who say Bernard Hopkins was their toughest fight. I see a lot of people don't know this about you. You are one of those guys who say, "Hey, I'm going to retire from the sport of boxing. I'm not going to let the sport retire me." You left with a winning record. You have been on a 2-year comeback since your loss to Sergio. So Sergio, why did you step away from the sport? Because a lot of people wondered that. It was like, man, Kelly just walked away.
Yeah, and it's mind-boggling to me. I mean, I guess I could understand because I was on a win streak, but I think a lot of people get caught up and they believe that my career started in 2007. You know what I mean? Because I was so under the radar for the 7 years before that. I turned pro in 2000, in June of 2000, and I always said even before when I first turned pro that I was not going to stay in the sport long. Boxing is not a longevity sport, and I made promises to a lot of people. I actually stuck around longer than I made promises that I was going to stick around. A big part of it was, so after I say right around 2010, Top Rank kind of wanted to do something different, and I understood. Top Rank for a long time wanted me away from Jack Lowe, and I fought and argued and fought with Top Rank to keep Jack. And then come 2010, 11, I mean, they were going to freeze me. At that point, I probably wouldn't have cared that much because I'm not going to lie to you, I was starting to kind of lose it right around 2010, and I ended up going out to California, and I listened to them. I went to go train with Robert Garcia, and don't get me wrong, it was an unbelievable learning experience. I enjoyed it. They were awesome out there, and we started off, and I fought a guy by the name of Aaron Jaco, which I could understand because it was my first fight with a new trainer, so they wanted to get me acclimated to being out in the West Coast and everything. And then the second fight was against Scott Sigmund, and I get it. And then the third fight, obviously, Roel Brzezinski. So by that time, I was up and away from home. Usually when you up and leave home and go away to camp, you're at the beginning of your career when you're trying to make the money, when you're trying to win a world title. Very few leave at the end when they got the money and they got the world titles. So it was kind of hard to keep like going out there for months at a time away from the family. And the biggest part was there was no meaningful fights out there because everybody was kind of tied up at that Super 6. Because at this point, I was at super middleweight. And, everybody had their reasons for why I retired and all this bullshit. But the big thing was what kind of like rejuvenated me was they were getting ready to make the Andre Ward fight. And I was super pumped up for that fight. And unfortunately, Andre Ward had that shoulder injury and ended up getting surgery on it. And right there, so now Andre Ward's at the big shots out. That sucked a lot of energy out of me. And there was no other big fight. So that means that I would have to go back out for another 3 months of training to probably fight another Aaron Jaco. And, at that point when that fight was canceled, it was kind of like a sign. I just hung him up, like I was kind of done with the sport. I was very fortunate with the people that I had close to me, where I could, stay retired. It's been 8 years now, and I haven't had to throw a punch or punch a time clock. I have businesses and shit like that. So I was ready to walk away and kind of start a new chapter in my life. And there's plans on opening a boxing gym. I'm hoping to have that by the end of summer. So, things like that I'm doing now. But that was the whole reason. Like I didn't go into boxing, and I didn't want to be that guy that stayed around 20 years. I seen too much. I seen people that are from Youngstown that were former fighters. Like it's not worth having all the accolades if you can't understand them or count them, right? You just and then in boxing, nobody gives a shit. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you retire too early, it's because of this reason, that reason. And if you stick around too long, well, you stuck around too long, you're washed up. And then when you got all kind of medical problems, nobody wants anything to do with you.
Well,
And
I was going to ask to follow up on that because I asked also to David Benavidez because there's a dark side. We see what's going on. I don't know if you keep up with tennis, but you see what's going on with Naomi Osaka. She's been dealing with kind of like depression since she beat Serena Williams in the 2018 U.S. Open, right? And then she's been dealing with that undercover. Nobody's even known about it until she just went through what she went through or whatever. And I asked David Benavidez about because there's a dark side, and we have kids that listen also. So what would you say about you know what I'm saying, your experiences? You know, we've heard about things with you, and I know you say that people take things and give excuses on why you left, but we also know that certain things happen. What was the dark side for you, and how does a young person that goes through boxing get out of that and continue? Because like Troy said at the beginning, you're looking good right now, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're looking good. So applaud to you, bro.
I would say dark side for me, and to be honest with you, was right after I retired. You know, I was done with the sport. You know, when I retired from boxing, I didn't want nothing to do with it. I mean, at all. Like, I didn't watch hardly any fights unless it was like a really big fight. You know, I didn't pay attention to it. And you know, the things that I made headlines for, and it's not to defend myself. I'm not playing victim. I'm just calling the bluebird blue. You know, I got in trouble for BB guns, you know, shoving matches with my friends. That's what made TMZ. You know, I even told the judge at one time, I was like, man, if you guys are keep doing this, like, you got to pump me up a little bit, though. You know, like, I can't go talk to, you know, people and be like, yeah, I hit a lamppost with my 4-wheeler. So it was childish things that I got involved in, but it was happening way too often. You know what I mean? It was just one after another. And how's that saying go? Idle hands or idle time, free time, pretty much. In other words, like, is the devil's playground where you can get in trouble and dumb things can happen. And that's kind of where I fell into. You know, I said I was done, and I became super lazy. You know, and I wasn't doing anything. And you know, again, I was able to pull my head out of my butt and get back on track. And like I said, I ended up buying a gym. I ended up, you know, starting an app. I got a really big project going right now. So it was kind of like, you know, that was it. Like, I had to kick my own self in the butt to get out of that mode. And you know, a lot of things come with fame, you know, and as the saying goes, you know, a lot of people told me that, and it's hard because you go, yeah, I know, don't worry about it, I know what you're saying, you know, but you don't. Nobody knows until it happens, and it changes your life. Everything changes overnight. I'm not using it as an excuse to, you know, for people to go out and get in trouble or do things like that, but you are in a different situation, and you got people on the outside. They can't understand it. They think, you know, oh, you're successful, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But it's a lot of pressure on people. So if I had any advice to young kids or anybody on their way up, you know, is listen, like, don't just say, yeah, I know, and think that, you know. Keep people around you that you know, that you have known, that you could truly trust. If it's got to be a family member, people like that, because you're always going to have acquaintances. You're going to have the people, you know, and people are young. I mean, I'm 40 years old, and I still talk to people that I'm really not friends with and I don't trust, but you know, I still talk to them. You can have those people, you know, but keep them at a distance. You know, keep your close circle, and you should know, especially some of these kids that are 23, 24, you're old enough to know at that point. Keep those people close and listen to them. And, you know, and I think they'll be good. Don't get caught up in the materialistic crap and all the other stuff that goes on, because not only can it get you legally in trouble, but all the stuff that you worked for could go, you know, quickly. And they won't be there. They won't be there for you when you need something after that. You know, they'll be far gone, and they'll be leeching off somebody else at that point.
Well, thank you for that answer. And just one more thing, because I'm going to pass it to Troy. He fell off for a moment, and then back to Mark Nash. But and then we can open up to the platform. I know your time is limited, so we'll make sure that we get you out of here in that time frame. But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't know that when you defeated Jermaine Taylor, you were the WBC, WBO, Ring Magazine, and Lineal champion. So
Yeah.
Lineal championship goes through you. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't even know that, you know. And so, how did you feel when you raised your hand and got all those belts and those accolades of being the Lineal champion?
Oh man, you know it's hard. Like you don't even really. I didn't really realize. I walked through my at the time. I was I would have training camp at my dad's house. So and I keep all my memorabilia there because of the people that you come around when you're a champion. Because those belts ain't mine. That's all my kids and my grandkids. You know what I mean? That's just gonna get passed down through time. But every day I would walk past them trophies on a trophy case or the belts, and then we put them in a big case, a nice case, and you see it, and you know you're a champ, and people call you champ, and you're like, hey, what's up? But it never really like you don't get it until you're a little older, until time really has passed. The real meaning comes after that, like what you were able to accomplish. And to this day, when you see the few lineal champions out there, it is pretty impressive. And I beat the man who beat the man, obviously. So it was legit. And a big thing to this day, I'm still a little confused on it. I think a lot of people are. We've had questions with all these big time boxing gurus. My argument was, should I have been undisputed? Even though Jermaine didn't have the titles, because I always thought, and so did a lot of other people that have been around, always thought that even though Jermaine didn't have all 4 belts, when he beat Hopkins, he was the undisputed middleweight champion. And the only way that you could lose the undisputed tag was if you lost the fight to an opponent. And Jermaine didn't. Those belts were vacated or stripped. So it's kind of up there. I mean, I don't know how that really works, but but it's a cool thing. It's something to definitely look back on, and I wish I could have had all 4 belts, but it is what it is.
Right, well, I appreciate that, man. I'm going to fall back and let Troy and then Mark, and then we'll ask the chat to see if anybody wants to click the link and ask you a couple questions before you exit the building.
Cool.
Yes, sir. Back again. Now I think what you were trying to say last time, brother, is that an idle mind is a devil's workshop, right?
I think so, yeah. And I heard one's Devil's Playground or Idle
Okay,
Hands.
good. Hey, good. Look, I'm turning 50 in August, man. I'm coming down there, so you owe me some fried chicken and pizza. All right?
Oh, come on, man. I'm trying to watch. Okay. For sure. I got some good places around here.
Hey, Ohio is known actually for the chili, for the what's that called? The streamline. What is it?
Oh yeah, that's Southern though. That's down in Cincinnati.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Cincinnati.
We make it up here though. I like making a homemade chili. I like cooking a lot.
Gotcha.
Oh, good. We got something in common, man. We talk about that off here. But yeah, I actually watched that fight with Bernard, and I know you just answered the question about that. I always wondered, was there any talks of a rematch, man, between you and Bernard?
No, first of all, that fight, I went up 2 weight classes for that fight, and but it was a great offer. So that fight was kind of made. I ended up fighting Edison Miranda, who nobody wanted to fight. He was the most feared man at the time when I fought Miranda. Then I turned around and I fought Taylor, and then I even agreed if I beat Taylor in a contractual agreement that I would give him an automatic rematch. So I mean, right there was 3 brutal fights back to back. And then of course I fought Gary Lockett, which was well-deserved fight, and he was an undefeated kid trained by Calzaghe's dad. And I did what I was supposed to do with Gary Lockett. So after that, though, you started already hearing a little bit of the people, the media saying, "Oh, Gary Lockett," and there was no other fight. The Paul Williams fight fell through. I wanted the Paul Williams fight. I mean, I would have loved that fight. Paul Williams was a great fighter, but he was a welterweight and junior middleweight. He didn't have much power, and he just threw a lot of punches. Which, in return, I threw a lot of punches around. You know what I mean? And I was a bigger guy, so I think that fight would have been right down my alley. But unfortunately, they fell through because of the promoters, and the only fight out there really was Bernard Hopkins, and he wasn't coming down from light heavyweight. He came down like it was a catch weight. I think it was 172 or 173. So I just said, screw it. I went up and I fought him. So that's kind of how that fight, was made and it happened. But if there was other fights out there, I definitely would never have jumped 2 weight classes.
Yes, sir. And the fight that I always was interested in was you and Frock. You and Carl Frock. Yeah, but that fight never came about.
So that's a good one. And I was just seeing something actually. I was going on. I went on Facebook right before I got on, and I seen this group. I think they're based out of UK, and man, people like I think Frock's a cool dude. I thought he was a gutsy, ballsy fighter, but I don't see where everybody has him so highly touted as a great. Let's be honest. I mean, he beat some guys that were a little past their prime. He lost to some guys, the top guys. And let's go back to the Jermaine Taylor. After I beat Jermaine Taylor, a lot of people believe that Jermaine Taylor was done after that fight. And I kind of think he may have lost a little bit after that fight. But let's not get it wrong here and twisted. Jermaine Taylor was putting a boxing lesson on Carl Froch. If anybody goes back and watches that fight, I mean, he up until that 12th round when he got knocked out, if he would have actually took another knee, I had him far enough ahead in that fight where it could have been a draw or maybe a round, or Taylor could have won by a round. And again, that wasn't a young Jermaine Taylor, when he fought him. So I kind of go off that. I know you shouldn't base fights on stuff like that, but I just thought Froch was a tough dude. I thought like if you fought Froch, you knew you were in for a long night, because it's going to be tough. But that was about as far as it went, in my opinion.
That's what's up, man. But I believe we got Mark with the last question from the four group panel right here. Then we're gonna start letting people in to ask you one question at a time before you exit the building. All right?
Cool.
All right, brother. Appreciate it.
Man, I'm looking at my list right here, Mr. Pavlik, and I'm like, man, I gotta prioritize the choice of the questions to get them all in. Mr. Senator Guido, what up, everybody? Y'all see we got a legend in here tonight, man. God is good. I'll ask you a simple question right here, and then I'll ask you a tougher one. For those who might not know, you actually had 2 nicknames at one point. You were the Express, and then you were the Ghost Express, right? How did you get those nicknames, and who gave you those nicknames? Can y'all mute your mic, please, while he's talking? Guido and Sinister, thank you.
So the Express was because of a mess up on a poster. So everybody started calling me the Express. And that was actually a little later. Yeah. It was, I think, either early on. Then they did it again, I believe, for the Hopkins fight, and people just added that into it. But the Ghost came about, and it was actually a coincidence. So when I fought in the amateurs, a lot of the amateur tournaments were in the Cleveland, which is an hour north. And I was like the only white dude at some of these tournaments. And so a lot of the guys on the Cleveland team would call me Ghost. So I would go in there, and that was the nickname that they gave me. Well, there was one fight. My brother Michael used to come to a lot of the fights, and he couldn't make it. So this goes back to VHS days. So we had the VHS, and we came home after the tournament, and we were watching a fight, and he was watching on tape. And he goes, man, he's like, you move like a ghost in there. Because believe it or not, back in my amateur times, and especially early in my pro career, I moved. You know what I mean? I actually had head movement. I danced around. I was slick. And he goes, you move like a ghost in there. And it was kind of just a coincidence that I had the nickname Ghost from the guys in Cleveland, and my brother said that. And it was different. Like, nobody really had that nickname Ghost. So, we kind of just ran with it at that point.
Okay. 2-part question. In your career, you faced some of the biggest and the baddest. You reached some of the highest pinnacles of the sport. Real quick before you answer this, when I look at Box Red, that rematch with you and Jermaine Taylor doesn't look like it's for the belts. Is that an error?
No, it wasn't, because that's another one. I agreed to his stipulations and what he wanted. So we fought at 64 catchweight.
Oh, that's why. Okay. So who ducked the smoke? This is the question I like to ask every fighter who comes up here. Who did you face that didn't want the smoke, and you don't care who? You're gonna go to the grave with this. Like, this man didn't want to fight me. He did not want to fight me. It was a bunch of excuses. And are you willing to come back to do one of these Triller fights that they have when we have these legends come back? So that's my 2-part question.
So okay, wait. So you're asking somebody that I fought that didn't want to fight me, or somebody who I was supposed to fight but didn't fight?
Yeah, they ducked it. They didn't. They was capping that you never fought them, but they was out here talking about they wanted to fight you. Fans might think you were ducking them, but
Well, let's
you know
go.
what's up.
So Paul Williams was a big one because we actually tried to make that fight twice, and again, and it turned back on that I was ducking Paul Williams. So we always say, like, why would I be ducking Paul Williams, who's coming up in weight, for me to jump up 2 weight classes to fight an all-time great like Bernard Hopkins? You know what I mean? So I would say that, but I don't think that it was so much. I don't think any fighter ducks. I'm going to be straight honest with you. I think a lot of it comes down to the promoter and the promotional companies, and then what happens is the fighters are the ones that take the blame for it, and that's a lot of times that happens. But I would say to Paul Williams, and I would say Arthur Abraham, because they did everything possible to make sure that fight didn't happen, and they wanted it. They wanted that fight overseas, and here I am, the lineal middleweight champion. Why would I have to go over there? I'm the one that has the belts, and I'm the one who beat the man, and a lot of them guys picked up Jermaine Taylor's, leftover, and that was a big one, Arthur Abraham, because I did want that fight. I kind of wanted to unify the division. That's why I stayed at middleweight as long as I did. I mean, shit, I was at middleweight for what, 10 years, 9 years. So I would say those 2 fights were probably the biggest ones.
Okay, I'm gonna pass it back to Major Key, and we're gonna open the panel up and let you
Yeah,
guys.
let's go ahead and move because we got a couple of fans up in the building. First and foremost is Mr. Sinister. One question because the time is limited. Then Guido Beyond, and then Mad Chad Boxing. He's got his own channel. Everybody subscribe to him, and then and of course Mark Nass. He's simulcasting right now, by the way. But then Shelton Moore, who's been all over YouTube as well. So first, Mr. Sinister, let's start with you, man. One question at a time, though, guys, because he's really limited with his time.
Okay, Kelly, thank you for answering our question and coming on. I appreciate it. And are you going to do anything to do with boxing, like as far as training, opening up a gym, or behind the scenes, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got a lot going on right now, as a matter of fact. A lot of big things in the works. But the one big one that I want to do is actually through my charitable organization, is the boxing gym. COVID kind of put a big hold on a lot of that. I was actually training a young girl who fought in the Silver Glove Nationals. She came in second, actually. She's ranked number 2 in the country right now, I believe, because of the way the ranking quarters fell. So, yeah, I do have a wanting it. It's just really hard right now, again, with everything going. But once I get everything organized and planned, and I get the gym set up, and I could have the right help where somebody's on the same page as me, yeah, I'll be doing that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guido, what's going on, brother? What's your question, man?
Hey, salute, Sam. Thank you for coming. You know what I mean?
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
My question would be to you is, what you think about the super middleweight that we got? Like a David Benavidez, Canelo, you know what I mean? Caleb Plant, you know what I'm saying? How you feel what's going on in boxing?
I think, you know what? I think boxing is loaded right now. I mean, where can you begin? Welterweight division, lightweight division, light heavyweight division, super middleweight division. Super middleweight, I think right now, the best super middleweight is David Benavidez. He's just too big. He could fight. Canelo's making noise. Canelo gets a lot of haters. And let me tell you, Canelo can fight.
He does.
Let's put it out there. If you want to hate, you can hate. The dude can fight, and he's an amazing fighter. And I think that Canelo is the second best super middleweight, but I think it ends there. I don't want to see him, go back up to light heavyweight. You got guys like Beterbiev and Bivol who are at that weight, who just naturally 175 and can fight. But I think the best overall at super middleweight right now is David Benavidez because of his size, how he could fight. And then, I got Canelo.
Yeah, he's a beast. And one last thing, I'm gonna leave. The lightweight division, it's been very competitive. A lot of young kids, you know what I mean? You got Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Lomachenko. I mean, Javante Davis, David Haney. You just fought this past Saturday. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think we should.
Man, we got a hell of a talent division.
I agree. I think we should actually kind of just talk about how good is that 140-pound division going to be, because I have a feeling a lot of them guys here, like very shortly, are going to move to 140. Teofimo's a big lightweight. Tank is a big lightweight.
Exactly.
Then you got Josh Taylor at 140. If I was Josh Taylor, I would sit pretty. I mean, he's got to be crazy to go up and mess with them boys at 47. He's got to be crazy to go fuck with Crawford and Spence and Virgil Ortiz and who's that? Boots Enos. Man, stay home, relax at 140. You got some money fights coming up from 135. Teofimo, in my opinion, right now is the best 135, and then I'd have to follow it up probably with Haney, and then I would say Tank. You know, Ryan Garcia, to me, I think the kid's got some skills. He got super fast hands. I think he still needs a little more time to fall in. Everybody matures different into a weight class, and I think Ryan Garcia got a little more maturity time before you start throwing him in there with guys like Tank, Haney, or Teofimo. But I got Teofimo top dog, but Teofimo is going to get that itch, and he's going to want to go fight the Taylors, who are undisputed. He's going to want to go fight, those type guys. So it's good. That three weight divisions right there, 135, 40, and 47 is going to be really interesting.
That's what's up, man. Great question, Guido. And we're not even going to talk about the lightweight. Please, nobody ask this guy about the lightweight, like undisputed, because that's going to be a rabbit hole. Well, I'll text you about that a different day, Kelly. Let's talk about that a different day. But that's a whole rabbit hole right there. We don't want to talk about that. But yo, Mad Chad in the building. What's going on, brother? You and then Shelton, and then we wrap it up here.
Hey, shout out Major Key for having, and thank you, Champ Pavlik, for swinging by. It's so beautiful to see you got your faculties. You're still sharp as a whip. And Kelly, my greatest memory of you was when you fought Edison Miranda, the Pantera. He was a killer. He just put a beating on Alan Green. I was a big Alan Green fan with the chin checker. He had the knockout of the year there, and Edison gave Alan all he could get. And then going into that fight, I'm like, this Pantera guy's for real. And I was a big fan of you from, being from the States. And that fight, Kelly, I thought that was one of your best performances. And, I just have many memories of you fighting. It's great that you're working with the youth. You're working still in the gym. I think you got to keep your mind going with boxing because you're a professor of the sweet science, Kelly. And that's all I have to say is God bless you and your loved ones, your family. And keep doing what you're doing, Mr. Pavlik. You have many, many fans. Drop any link for charitable, whatever you got going on, Kelly. Let Major Key know about it. We'll get the word out there.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do that at the end. We're going to wrap it up like that, like always. Definitely. Yeah.
Much respect from Portland, Maine. Thank you guys all. This is great shit, Kelly. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the words, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's what's up. All right, Shelton Moore, what's your question, man?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing? How you doing, Mr. Pavlik?
Doing good, man.
I followed your career. You're one of the great ones. I have one question. Which one of the guys today at 60? I'm an older cat, so I always think that the older guys, it was just a different breed. Which one of the cats you see at 60 that could have lasted amongst you and Taylor and Hopkins and Green and all those guys?
To be honest, I defend these guys. Times have changed. These guys today can fight, man. Everything's changed. Just like in all sports, football, basketball. It evolves. They're bigger, faster, stronger, quicker. I think a lot of guys could actually compete. I mean, Canelo could definitely compete at 160. He's doing his thing at 68. Danny Jacobs, I consider him towards the end of his career. I think a lot of them can. I don't think it's anything to do with heart or guts. I think it's the business part, man. It's kind of like, so I'm from Youngstown, and I had a guy who came up, we're talking 18 years ago, from Youngstown, Maurice Claret. He played for the Ohio State Buckeyes, and it was when LeBron turned pro and everything else. And he kind of like, a lot of that pressure came like, hey, LeBron, they were good friends. Hey, LeBron's doing this. Why can't I turn pro? So he tried going into the NFL early. And a lot of this has happened with these boxers, too. They're seeing guys like Lomachenko get the title shot early. They're seeing all these big guys out there.
Shelton, mute your mic. I'm sorry, Kelly. Shelly, mute your mic. Please. I'm sorry, Kelly. Can you back up just a little bit and say that again? I'm sorry, guys.
So a lot, I kind of call it that effect of like the Maurice Claret, LeBron type thing. These guys see all these other fighters out there making money, right? Making big dollars, and Lomachenko getting a title shot. I think a lot of them are, Here's my take on it. I think Charlos at 160 right now are great fighters. I think they could fight with the best of them. But they're wanting to call out Canelo. I get it. Canelo's the money guy right now, right? But like, let's go back. Look who I had to fight to get Jermaine Taylor. I had to fight a monster that nobody else wanted to fight, Edison Miranda. So how about we get Andrade, and how about we get him more than one fight every 2 years? So maybe tell him, hey, let's not deal with Canelo right now. And why don't the boxing people and why don't Charlo and Andrade fight each other? And then you know what? Now you got to fight. Now you got to fight with Canelo. Canelo already cleared out the middleweight division. I'm sorry, people, but he beat Triple G. If it was controversial or not, he won at the end of the day, right? He beat Danny Jacobs, close fight, but he won. Those were the two top dogs at the time. So he moved on. He moved up to super middleweight. Fuck, he went up and he won a light heavyweight title. So to keep calling him out is kind of unrealistic. How about you guys take care of each other? And then, you know, and if you lose, if Andrade loses to Charlo or Charlo loses to Andrade, their careers are not over. You have two very talented fighters who just lost, and one of them could turn right back around and fight for a title. Those are the fights that I think people want to see, but these guys are falling in, and I think it's the promoters and managers too. They're falling into this like, give me Canelo, give me the money ticket. I want that now, and I think that's the problem.
Thanks, man. I appreciate your answer.
No problem.
Kelly, we know you have to go. But do you have time for maybe one more question?
Yeah, I'll give you guys. We can do up to 10 till.
Got okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Was that from you or from where?
That was from you because I saw it from the private chat. Go ahead.
Right,
Go
got
ahead.
it.
I'm helping.
Mr. IOTBA. Okay, so Mark asked for me, IOTBA. So thank Mark. Because I wasn't going to like hold his brother any longer, but welcome to the building and go ahead and ask your question. But I did commit 40 minutes, so we're past that 40-minute mark. So go ahead and ask your question, and we'll wrap it up. Yo, IL2BA, you there or not?
Oh yeah, what's up? Shout out to everybody here on Major Keep Boxing. Shout out to my guy Kelly Pavlik. What's popping, man?
What's going on?
Hey man, my question to you is Kelly because
real quick, you got to do what's that? How's that go? Your little I was scrolling.
I was scrolling.
Yeah, he know you too. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh yeah. Shout out to my no, me and Kelly, I got linked up with him through my guy James Dominguez. Shout out to my guy James Dominguez. Real talk. Him and Kelly got a nice show that they do on Facebook, and I make sure I tune into that every time they pop on. But Kelly, this is my question to you. Because you being at the highest of highest in sports, winning the world championship, knowing how much pressure that you got over you. So tell me, how would Deontay Wilder be able to bounce back from, in this fight versus Fury, knowing that he's mentally haven't accepted that he lost that fight yet?
So I've really been thinking about that because, you know, I've been trying with my Instagram. I actually been putting a lot of time into it, and I do some takes on fights. That's a hard one. It really is. The heavyweight division has changed for the better. I mean, these are monsters now. Listen, I can't sugarcoat it. Wilder got his butt whipped pretty good last fight, and he looks sharp as hell though right now. I watch his training. I mean, I see him throwing body punches that I've never seen Wilder throw before. I think he's with Malik Scott, who I came up with in the amateurs. Guy knows a lot about boxing. Great trainer. He's worked with everybody. This fight, what's crazy about it is they're heavyweights. Deontay Wilder, we know he could hit. Listen, he may not have the best technique. It may not be what you want to show your young fighter to copy, but Wilder could hit. So there's always that chance. You know, there's always that chance that he could take out Fury with one shot. If he comes back into that fight like he did his last fight, I think Fury's going to take it to him again. But I never bet heavyweight fights. I never bet heavyweight fights. It's just too up in the air and anything can happen. And I hate giving predictions on it because everybody holds on to that shit and then they come at me when I lose. So it could be an interesting fight. I would have rather seen Fury Joshua, but hey, if they got another one and they got to do it, let's watch it.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate your question, Mr. IOTBA. So, Troy Graham, final thoughts for our guest, Mark Nash, and then Kelly, you tell everybody to find you, and then we go from there, man.
All right.
Troy
Okay,
Graham.
I was waiting. Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look, Kelly, thank you for your time, man. We definitely appreciate it, man. You were a great guest. Everything went smooth. So, hey, you have a home here now. You have a social media home. Anytime you have anything going on, man, whether if you just want to talk about someone you're training and you're trying to promote them, or you trying to come back on a card and you got that fight with Bernard, the second one, come on through, man. You got a home here, and just let us, talk to the
Everybody's
people
trying to
about
get
it.
me
All
back
right.
out for that Triller, that legend. I'm content, man. I eat anything I want. I don't have to watch anymore and lose weight. And you guys want to get me off the couch or go get my ass whooped.
It's the
Hey,
exhibition.
hey,
It's
hey,
your gloves. You'll
hey,
be all
man. No
right.
family will do that to you. You got a
Hey,
social media family now,
we,
so come on.
we
Come
may
on
do
through,
it,
man,
man.
because we're gonna send you the link from time to time so you can check out the show. So just come on back when you have something going on. All
Absolutely.
right,
Listen,
brother?
I love these type shows, man. This has been great.
Yeah.
Maybe we can schedule one for next week, and I'd love to open it up for debate. Even talking
I
about me,
tell you what we can
I
do.
love talking about the sport. Like the state of the game, like where everything's at now. So
I tell you what we could do. You can come back on if you like on June 7th. We have a segment called Coach's Corner, and we got a Hall of Fame boxing trainer coming on. I don't want to say the name right now, but you're welcome to come through on that show, and you can chop it up with the trainer, who I'm sure you'll know. Once we send you the information, right?
oh, absolutely,
And I'm sure that he'll love to chop it up with you as well.
cool.
No
Yep.
doubt.
How's that?
I'll keep it all hush hush.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
man.
we'll talk to you on the back end,
I'll let
though,
you
brother,
about
man.
that.
Thank you.
I'll send you details about that. Mark Nash, wrap it up, and
Yeah,
then I gotta beg. Oh, okay, he left. Okay, but go ahead, Mark Nash.
Go ahead. What was you about to say?
No, it's all right. It was a different category. I was about to. My boy Rap Star from the UK was in the background, but he left. I was going to beg Kelly to answer his question because that's my boy, but he left. So anyway, so go ahead, man. Wrap it up, and then I'll wrap it up over here, man.
I just want to because I should have wrote it down. I was writing everything down. Somebody said something to make me think of a question. Oh, I remember now. This is another question I like to ask the pros. I'm gonna have a montage of this one day, Kelly. You're gonna be in this montage of all the pros answering this question. Glove gate. Is it real? Is it cap? We heard things about my water was spiked by my trainer, possibly. The suit might have been too heavy. The glove was slipped off a little bit, so it created a longer reach. So now it's more of a slapping motion. Something might have been in the glove, like an egg weight. Talk to me, because I know you got your ear to the street, and you have been in the ring, you've had been in those corners. Glove gate, is it cap? Is it real? Is it possible to get
Maybe
away
back
with cheating?
maybe back in the 1940s and 50s. People have to understand, and on that you've seen many different excuses from Wilder, and when you get those different ones, because I do believe that some people, hey, I experienced there's off nights and there's shit that goes wrong, and there's been things that through camp that's hidden. I've had to go through them, where you don't want the other camp to find out. So I always defend the fighter. When a fighter says, that wasn't my night, I could relate to that. On the water situation, there was just too many things. But let me explain the glove gate. So here's what happens: you go the day before the after the weigh-ins, you go and you get to pick your gloves, and they're in a package, and it has to be by the commission. Nobody can overrule that. Then you go into the locker room, you get hand wrapped now, especially since the margarita incident. They stand over you like a hawk when you wrap your hands, and you can only wrap them certain ways too, or they'll tell you you got to rewrap it. So they're in there, the commission's in there, and they actually let another trainer from the other camp come over and check them to make sure. Okay, so you got that where it's almost impossible to do something fishy. Secondly, the gloves are taking out of the package, and one of the guys from the commission's in there, and they watch you put them gloves on because they got to sign off on them. You guys see, like on the gloves, you see the marker, the writing. That's the commission signing off on the glove. So it's almost highly impossible. They don't even let you tie the glove a certain way. You can't even pull back the leather like you used to be able to anymore. They'll tell you not to do that. So for me to be able to say that they did something with the gloves, It's almost impossible because
Margarito had something in his glove in this era, though,
But-
Kelly. Not
yeah.
to be argumentative. I know you got to go, but it
So
has
that-
happened in this. Hold on. In this comment era, I don't want him to. I want him to answer it. In this modern era, it has happened. Like with the block fell out of Margarito's gloves, so it has happened. And the commission didn't catch that. It was the trainer.
No, that wasn't anything. Well, it was a block, but so the Margarita situation. That's why I said it really changed after that fight because they really got strict. But the Margarita situation was something when the gauze got wet, it turned into like a cast, almost like a plaster. That's what happened. So as that fight went on, and that gauze got more wet, it turned into like a hard cast, and they found that. So now they're even stricter on these gloves when you go to wrap. They come in, they check, they make sure you have a corner man to check the gauze. And then again, the gloves, you have a guy from the commission there. And once them gloves are on, you can't take them off. So it's like I was saying, it's almost next to impossible to mess with a glove once you're saw them.
Well,
That's
look,
why I
man,
said 1940s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. Yeah, you probably could have had a lot of crap go on. This day and age, man, they're on that. I mean, it's crazy.
It's a never ending story. I'm sure next time you come back up, it's gonna be people that beam in and they're gonna want to challenge you more. I know we have to go. Thank you again for your time. Go ahead, Major Key. Take us home, brother.
Yeah, man. Do you want to answer one more question from a dude from the UK or no?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm here.
This is my brother. So I had to ask you, man. I can't let him off the hook. Like, Rap Star in the fucking building. What's going on, Mr. Rap Star? Ask my brother, please, one question. That's it, because I know you lit. He's got a channel, too. He's got a boxing channel in the UK. Rap Star, go ahead, man. Get it off your chest, man. And let's keep it moving, because I promised him 40 minutes. We're already on 52 minutes, bro. Go ahead, Rap Star. Rap Star. Well, you fell asleep in the background?
Yo, what's happening?
What's going on,
Major
brother?
Key?
Chilling, brother. Come on, man.
Kelly Pavlik, what's happening, bro? Can you hear me, my brother?
Yes, I can. How you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm a big fan of yours, man. I just came on here, man, late, bro. I woke up late. It's 2-something in the morning over here. But Kelly, I've been following your career for years, bro. You beat the pound for pound guys. You are a warrior. And you also retired on top, bro. If I'm not mistaken, you won your last 4 or 5 fights before you retired, correct?
Yes.
So can I ask you why you retired? Was it injuries? Was something happen? Or did you just lose the love for the sport? Or did you just not have that hunger anymore, bro?
He late to the party, Kelly. I already asked that, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I tapped on this a little bit ago. I lost a little bit of it at the end, and then when they made the Andre Ward fight, I kind of got rejuvenated. I was like really pumped up for it. Not saying that I would beat Andre Ward, but you're fighting Andre Ward, you're a pound for pound guy. You're up for those type of fights, and everybody that knows my career knows that I love those type of fights. But at that point, he got injured and that fight fell through, and there was no meaningful fights out there. I was pro over 12 years. That's a long time, and I have 42 pro fights. That's a lot of fights. So, it just came to a point where I just wanted to be done. I always said even early on in my career that I wasn't going to stick around in boxing for a long time. So, those last couple fights that I had, they weren't really what I wanted. And then the big fights, I would have had to wait another year and a half for a big one.
All right, bro. I appreciate you answering my boy's question from across the pond. So last thing
thanks for that, bro.
Yeah, man. Last things are for Kelly to speak and for myself to speak. So Kelly, tell everybody where to follow you. Please let everybody know where to follow you, so I could go ahead and speak on some other things and close the show, man.
Absolutely. So I'm on Facebook, and you just put Kelly Pavlik in. You'll see it. I'm on Instagram, where I do a lot of cool stuff. I got something posted every day, sometimes twice. That's at pavlik.kelly. And so check that out. And then I'm on
Pavlik.Kelly.
Yeah, and that's kelly.pavlik. But Instagram is a big one right now that I've been putting some work into, and I always got something cool on there. So yeah, go check out pavlik.kelly on Instagram.
And then you have your gym where in Youngstown right now?
So I have a lifting gym, a fitness center, and right outside of Youngstown. You lift weights, but I still have in the back where I can let people hit the bag and stuff like that. I have a boxing app out. It's called the Sweet Science Plus. and you can find that on Apple, in the Apple store. Hopefully soon we'll have it to Android. But yeah, it's called the Sweet Science Plus. So and then I got many other things going too. So
that's what's up. That's what's up, man. So, man, if you get any fighters that come up through your ranks, that you train, you make sure you let me know, man. I'll follow them from their amateur career throughout. So you let me know, right?
I appreciate it.
So I appreciate your time. I know we went over the time, and I do apologize. Hopefully you come back. I just have a lot of animated folks that wanted to talk to you today. But I appreciate it. I appreciate the time, man. And everybody else, man, it was a great night of boxing talk. Thank you to Kelly Pavlik. Hopefully y'all learned something off of this brother. You know what I'm saying? So again, thank you for supporting Major Key Boxing. Everybody show up to Mark Nash. Are you going live right now? Or are you going live at 10?
I'll do a quick after party for this, but we have a Grammy nominated producer pulling up at 10 o'clock. So we definitely want to give him his time and give the boxing fans the time to make the choice versus the music fans,
Okay, yeah, make that transition. That's fine. Everybody go to Mark MARQ.
Thanks for following me back and sharing my story, Kelly.
Oh, no problem, man.
I saw it on IG. Thank you.
Send me a text or something. I can share this and same with you, Nash. If you need me to get something out there or publicize it, man, I'll do that too. Whatever you got going. So
that's what's up, man.
It's all about helping everyone out.
It's about building relationships. That's what life is about. Building relationships.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you again, Kelly. Appreciate you, Mark. Appreciate you, Mad Chad, Troy, Rapstar, everybody, Guido, everybody that came into the building. Y'all have a great night. We wrapping it up over here on Major Key Boxing. Salute.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother, man. It was a pleasure. It was definitely a pleasure, man.